Good day, everyone, everywhere, and special greetings to all those seated in heavenly places in Jesus. The name of this broadcast is Cross the Border. We're heard daily on First Amendment Radio. We do, however, in the middle of the week, every Wednesday morning at this time, 9 a.m. Pacific time, turn on the studio cam and jump into the chat room. I'm also watching the chat room over at D Live. I'm thinking about exiting the chat room over there because we could be cut off of YouTube at any time. And since we can't really, I don't believe I can, well, I don't know how to do it anyway, to embed a live feed in our First Amendment Radio chat room. So we might just abandon that in the near future for the D Live chat room and live feed completely. But until then, we have our own chat room over at firstamendmentradio.net. And good morning, everyone in the chat room there. And we got a few live listeners over there on D Live. And the reason I say that is because we've been kicked off. First Amendment Radio has been kicked off of Facebook. We've got 2 strikes over there. So I don't know how long we're going to last, with a 3rd strike pending. And I've got 1 strike on my Prophecy Reality News channel at YouTube. And I'm not even trying. As a matter of fact, I might be trying not to get another strike. But whatever. Like I said, maybe it'd just be better to move over to D Live, go live on YouTube, but immediately delete the video after the live feed. Yeah. Before they have time to run their algorithm on it and decide that there are too many flags in it about things that aren't politically correct to the owners of YouTube over there. And it's, and they never let you know what it is that you said. They just tell you that you have a strike because you violated their guidelines, but you can appeal if you want. And since nothing's changed with them, the appeal is just not a real process, I guess, unless it's over maybe a copyright issue or something where someone is illegally laying a copyright claim against you or something like that. But whatever, like I said, it's just inevitable. And I hate to waste my broadcast making that kind of announcement, but there it is. But we are always live, and you'll always find a way to go to join us live if you subscribe to my website over there at crosstheborder.org or nicholasarthur.wordpress.com. If you're watching on D Live, if you scroll down, you'll see some panels there that have links with some let's see, how do I put that on the screen? Oh, here it is here. Yes, indeed. Yeah, and this is what the D Live site looks like here on the screen. And, of course, I don't have it on because I'm live right now, and I would get an echo of me. But anyway, if you scroll down, there are links. There are 3 panels that link to my website there with, different articles that you might be interested in. If you're interested in prophecy and Bible study, things like that, then you would find that very interesting. Okay, so that's dlive.tv prophecy / prophecy reality news. So I think maybe we'll try it for the first time next week. So just, I guess, a heads up for that there. What are we going to talk about today? That is the question. And the question answered. I think I'm going to talk a little bit about the mark of the beast and Proverbs chapter 1. I always have to go back to Proverbs chapter 1 when we talk about the mark of the beast. You'll see if you don't know already. So you want to stick around for that. And I wanted to take a look at The Greatest Reset. It's a True News movie publication True News, True Movie, or something like that. But it's by those people over there at True News that they're publishing that. I had some insight into that, and a little more insight into True News, and they've got a few critics out there that ask some questions that we're not getting any answers to from our dear friend Rick Wiles of the Devil, right? Well, what a name, Wiles. Yeah, it's a wily character, man. But they do have some good news over there. I mean, it's a good news program. So, but there's a problem underlying it. We'll talk about that. And we see a lot of the same problem with a lot of so-called conservative and Christian alternatives. Because, you try things like Gab, and then you go over there and you find out that most of the people there are members of the great apostate church, the anti-Christian church. Oh, speaking of which, oh, right there. Yeah, the guy there is the head of the church there, not the other guy, not the phony colored president guy, but the one with the white beanie on. Yeah, he sits in the seat of the Antichrist. And so that's why we have his pictures up. These aren't Catholic symbols to, mind control you into becoming a Catholic. God forbid. Yeah, that you should join the anti-Christian church of history. Yeah, the greatest apostasy that has ever existed and still is in existence. Yeah, that's why those pictures and stuff are up here, is because we expose the Antichrist and his great apostasy. And we ask you if you're part of that. I have my family tradition is that. Yeah, my mother was, my father was, but it doesn't mean that you're really biblically religious if you're simply a Catholic. I know all about it, and many of you do too. But anyway, so that's what we're going to talk about today. And for the second hour, we're going to get probably more into prophecy and talk a little bit more about the Revelation, the exposition of the Revelation I'm writing or finishing right now. I've decided that because I do a lot of transcribe, proscribe, I don't know, what would you call it when you publish something to audio. Yeah. Anyway, you have to go through the whole thing and read everything in detail. Audible, that's it. That's the commercial name, Audible. So I'm doing the Audible version of my book before I publish it, because I figure I have to read every word. And so I'm fine. That's going to be my final edit, to go through Audible and correct some things in the Audible and the written version at the same time. And that way I can publish it all at once. So that'll probably be by the middle of the month. Like I said, I needed another 15 days because my plan was to publish my exposition on the Revelation. And you all will, I'm going to play it on the air, so you all will get to hear it for free. So you'll want to listen to my weekly broadcast, perhaps starting Monday, because I'm already recording it. And I'm under that deadline of 2 weeks. So you'll get to hear it first. If you listen to firstamendmentradio.net, and it will be in the podcast player there for a week. Each broadcast will, so you won't have to miss it. You'll have a whole week to listen to the whole thing and catch it up as I publish each day of those Audible segments. Okay, so that'll be like 8 segments now. Because the chapters, they're split up into about 15 to less than 30-minute segments each, depending on where I can stop in the book at subtitles and so forth. But anyway, so you have all that to look forward to. And if you're, it looks like we got a few new people over there. Reformation, protest. I guess that's what we have, another Reformation Protestant in the chat room there. And hey, welcome. You're at the right place. First Amendment Radio. And is the place. And you can listen all day at firstamendmentradio.net/MOBI for your iProducts or mobile products. Or we also have in the Android Google store. We have the Prophecy Reality News app, which streams firstamendmentradio.net 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So you can get edified, get news, financial information, a lot of good stuff there. So make sure you take advantage of those resources. All right, well, what shall we do first? Okay, what we shall do first is we have this little video. I wanted to discuss this before we dive into our scripture, into the Proverbs there. And that is this here. Now, this is thegreatestresetmovie.com, a trailer. Okay, so let me play that trailer. Okay.
We have almost forgotten that we are in a great mortal combat. The battle of the forces of good and the forces of evil.
We're in an incredibly dark time, and it's cast over the earth. Whether this is a biblical plague, whether this is, as you described it, there is a tension between good and evil. We're in a crisis of compassion. So for the first time in my career, doctors are turning their shoulders away from patients. They are denying patients care. So this is very, very important.
What does that mean? They're killing them.
They're killing them.
Right?
They're killing them.
That's an understatement. That's why I'm picking on the academic fraudsters that literally gave the academic basis to kill people.
On behalf of the Center for Health Security, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and the World Economic Forum. Welcome to Event 201.
The goal of the Event 201 exercise is to illustrate the potential consequences of a pandemic and the kinds of societal and economic challenges it would pose.
Is this anthropogenic? Is it man-made?
Now this guy here, I found it very curious when I saw him, because this guy has nothing to do with what is actually going on with what this movie is about, or maybe he does. So I looked into him. This is the True News publication, and they have this guy. I forget his name exactly. What his name is? It's the young guy with the ponytail on True News, and he's their movie producer guy. Okay, so he's producing this movie, and I'm asking myself, this guy really, what his comments are thrown in there like they're very important, but he isn't really saying anything. So I'm going, why is this guy in here? Okay, so I got to look into this guy, and here he is. I had to stop the camera because this flashes pretty fast where it has his name, Timothy J. Gordon, J.D. P.H.L. Okay, J.D. But anyway, and he has down here, Catholic philosopher, author, and the host of Rules for Retrogrades. Very interesting. So I look into this guy, and he's a diehard Catholic, okay? And he seems, well, need I say, very Jesuitical to me. Yeah, because he's a rebel in the Catholic Church. Yeah, or perceived rebel in the Catholic Church. And he asked this question. Let me see, where's this question at? Okay, here he has this video here. Let me see if I can bring this into view here. And so you can see I listened to part of this video on YouTube. And this is this guy, Timothy Gordon, Rules for Retrogrades. And you can see his symbol here for his podcast, broadcast show, Rules for Retrogrades. I believe there's a book that goes with that too. But the name of this video is, Can the Pope Be the Antichrist? Well, now he really got my curiosity piqued, right? But so I listened. You can see I've listened to half of it at least, if not gone back. But and I got the gist of it pretty much. That he says he's asking the question, can the Pope be the Antichrist? And his answer is no, because that would destroy the ecclesiology of the entire Catholic Church, or of the Church of Christ, or whatever, because he doesn't make any difference between the Catholic Church and the Church of Jesus Christ. To him, they're the same thing. So this guy is dyed in the wool, permanently Catholic, even calls himself, as it says here, Catholic philosopher. So he is a sophist, okay? That's what he is. He's a Catholic sophist. And, of course, philosopher means lover of sophism. So he loves to is sophistry, okay? That's what a philosopher is. He's into sophistry. And not only, if you call yourself a philosopher, you're a lover of sophistry. And not only that, is he a lover of sophistry, but he's a Catholic lover of sophistry. And see, that is like the very definition of Jesuit. So, yeah, I don't know where this guy got his JDPHL, all the numbers, the letters after his name. But anyway, and I'm thinking, okay, now the guy that is the young guy with the ponytail at True News, I forget his name, Matt something, okay, this must be a friend of his, and someone that he really looks up to. And that's what Jesuits do in the lives of people that have prominent positions or have wealth or in media. They always infiltrate their way in to steer people in the direction they want. And because they're not only after money and power, but they are after control of people and influence. So anyone who's influential. And then you wonder why. A lot of questions are unanswered about Rick Wiles and his beginnings to get where he was. He doesn't talk about where he went to school. That information is available nowhere on the internet. And so we get some questions about his past, and then we see that he is very highly embraced and, I believe, financed by people of the anti-Christian great apostasy, that church there. And so now we see a little peek into it here in their production and who they hold up as perhaps influential to them with this man. And of course the young guy, Matt, with the ponytail, who looks like a teenager who still lives in his parents' basement or something. I don't know that, or whatever is with him in his life, but obviously this must be one of his friends, his peers, or maybe even a mentor, someone he looks up to, that he put in here without any real reason, because it really doesn't fit with the rest of it. Okay, now let me continue this, anyways. But anyway, it looks like it's going to be a great production, but it's going to be a year in the making. So by then, the Great Reset will have advanced another 10 years, because when you think about it, the Great Reset, or the 2030 March to the Mark of the Beast, took a giant leap since the 2020 panic began a little over a year ago. It's like they advanced further in the last year and so many months, okay, than they did in the entire first 20 years of the century. Although they were doing a lot of the homework and setting up a lot of the infrastructure over the last 20 years, as we've been learning. So, we are moving now comparatively beginning to move at breakneck speed into the 2030, on the 2030 march to the mark of the beast. And we've gone already a year and so many months into it. And so it will continue, the Great Reset. Anyway, it'll be worth watching. Although I say, that's why I don't really want, have True News on First Amendment radio anymore. Because I really don't want to, I really don't want people to get sucked in by what's going on over there. Because, I believe that when 2030 comes, that I see the influences behind the scenes and what's pushing them, but they might be like an elite news site for people who are part and parcel behind the scenes, the more elite of those that have and are pushing this agenda, so they know where they're not supposed to step, what is meant for to use a phrase from history, the goyim, yeah. And no, I'm not bashing Jews or anything. What was that? What was that publication, that Jesuit counterfeit publication called? I can't, it just escapes my mind. But anyway, where they referred, we're just the great unwashed, okay? So if you're not part of the great unwashed, you won't get the JAB, okay? You won't take it because that it may be harmful. And I put anyway, so let's move a little further ahead here on this video.
Man-made, because one can really readily see that a dark winter or a crisis.
We're about to go into a dark winter. A dark winter.
We are in for a long, dark winter.
2020 could be the darkest winter in modern history.
Enables vast planning leverage. It gives you wide bandwidth to do what you wanted to do all along, which was to centrally plan other human beings and to corral them into the city of man, which almost self-evidently is what they're doing.
The city of man. But anyway, so I guess this is one of his experts and one of the people that he looks up to. Let me continue here.
Why would something that's experimental, that's investigational, it's not fully FDA approved, it's not safe or effective, why would this be the basis for the very quick announcements for rights to travel, keeping your job, going to school?
When you think about where we're going, needing upwards of 250 million Americans at least to finally be vaccinated to get herd immunity, are you frustrated at the pace of this? Do we need to pick it up?
The vaccine is neither safe nor effective. This is very important. And you asked about motive. What could motivate a stakeholder?
The stakeholder concept of stakeholder capitalism.
To want to enact a worldwide mass vaccination program of a vaccine itself, which scientifically and medically is neither.
Okay, hey, we're going into a break. We'll continue this broadcast after these messages. Don't go anywhere.
The program you are listening to is 100% sponsored by you, the listener, on this First Amendment Rights Media channel. You will notice that there are few commercials on this radio network. There's a good reason for that. Corporate advertising dollars come with strings that limit program content. So without your help, these programs cannot continue on satellite, internet, or our several affiliates. If you benefit by the educational law programs, we ask you to give. If you are admonished or nurtured by the Bible and ministry programs, we ask you to give. If some voice a cause that you are passionate about, we ask you to give. If you believe in any of these, we ask you to support them as you would a missionary on a continual basis, as if giving a tithe for missionary radio. These programs are not commercially viable and must be supported by those faithful to the cause of truth. Look for the button to sponsor your favorite programs at our listen and schedule pages on the internet. We will also give you unlimited archive access to all of our programs. We're asking you to give much less than a tithe, so that you may also send support directly to a particular program host, cause, and anywhere else the Spirit may lead you. Do all to the glory of our God and Creator, for His holy nation, the only kingdom that will last forever. Thank you for listening.
Welcome back. You're listening to Across the Border. This is a live prophecy reality edition. I hope you'll listen to my broadcast every other day of the week. I'm on at the same time, though I don't go on live with a studio cam and such. It's a lot of extra work, actually, so I'm glad I don't do it every day. But I have excellent programming during the week. Next week, I'm going to start the Audible version. Pre-release Audible version of my latest book on the exposition of the Revelation. Let's see, I have it right here on my, even on this computer here, so you can see here's my Word copy of it. And so I'm going through it, making the Audible version right now, and we'll start releasing it Monday. So even before I'm finished with the end of the book, before I'm finished recording it, I'll start the audio version on the air. So you'll want to check in to First Amendment Radio. If you miss it, we have podcasts for each day of the week. Of course, like every Monday's podcast is overwritten. The previous week's is overwritten with the new week, so you have a week to catch up on from the publishing of each podcast if you missed the live or the premiere broadcast, I should say, at 9 a.m. Pacific time. So it's there, and you can hear the whole book even before it's published out there for the world. And so make sure you take advantage of that on First Amendment Radio. You can listen on your stupid phone, if you have one of those stupid phones, and most people do, by opening your browser there and going to firstamendmentradio.net/MOBI, and all the podcasts and the live feed are there on that page. So that's firstamendmentradio.net/MOBI, or you can go to the Google App Store there and get the Prophecy Reality News app and download that, and everything is available there too, depending on which one you like better. But you cannot get the app on your Apple products. That's why we have the MOBI page, the Mobi page. Okay, well, I wanted to talk a little bit more about influences. Like, I don't allow influences from people that are opposed to the Bible, the truth, Reformed thought, things like that on First Amendment Radio. I don't allow those people to come on here and espouse their ideas and such, and I don't plug them in to my productions to hold them up as examples or mentors or sources that people should go to, because I don't want people to be led astray. Now, I might hold them out to expose them. That's why, like, I have these pictures flashing over here, is because these are pictures that we used and have used in some of our exposés. So to get the idea of why we have, like, you know, this one about gun control, and you have all these dictators here who loved gun control and murdered hundreds of millions of people. We aren't holding them out as examples. We are exposing them. And so, but when you put someone like this character in your video and hold him out as a source of expertise, as someone that we should look to, and you look into this guy, and then you have to go, well, the people that are using this guy in their productions and holding him out as some kind of expert or a source that should be paid attention to, but not exposing him for what he really is, then it's problematic. Because I looked into this guy and I listened to this video and I'm thinking, well, you know, this guy, he seems bright. He seems to have an analytical mind. And perhaps if I sent him a copy of my book, or, you know, had him on and interviewed him, and maybe he could become a Protestant. Maybe he would come out of her, my people. But I looked a little bit deeper, because I looked, well, he wrote a book, Rules for Retrogrades. This guy, he holds him out here as an author. Okay, where's that movie at? Or maybe I'll close that. Oh yeah, he holds him out as an author. And yeah, I guess I closed that already. Yeah. And uses him as someone who has valuable information for their expose on the Greatest Reset. But we know where the Greatest Reset comes from. We know that it's a shadow government and operation. It's a layer of plausible deniability for the Antichrist and his Jesuit army. We know that. See, we know that because we know history and we have eyes that can see. So anyway, I looked a little bit further. I thought maybe I could contact this guy. Maybe I could talk to him. And perhaps, you know, because he seems like he has a very analytical mind, but he is a sophist. Okay, self-proclaimed, obviously. So I looked at I looked him up on Kindle here. And anyway, he wrote a book here, and it's called Catholic Republic: Why America Will Perish Without Rome. Now, you start reading this book, because you go to it says look inside, and America is wired Catholic, labeled Protestant, and currently functioning as secular. In this book, I will show that this is true and explain how this confusion, that's confusion, all right. It sounds true, but is it true? You know? And it caused most of our countries major problems. Moreover, I will show that ideologically every American, Protestant, Jew, Muslim, or atheist, is actually Catholic. Whoa! Is actually Catholic. So you start thinking, there's no way that this guy would ever listen to me or become Protestant. Yeah. This guy is a true believer, and he sounds like he's so deep into the Counter-Reformation that he couldn't see his way out if he wanted to. Yeah. So, yeah, ideologically, and it goes on, actually. That's because America is a republic. And to the extent that they are successful, all true republics rely on a citizenry that holds Catholic principles. Wow. Now, see, I've read a lot of history. I've read history from the beginning, you know, and I'll tell you what, nothing flies in the face of history more than that statement right there. That all true republics rely on all true republics devoid of Christ. Of course, because think about it. Wasn't communist Russia a republic? Isn't China a republic? So what kind of republic is it? Yeah. So perhaps it's true. But see, you got to remember when you read these things that he's a sophist, okay? What he's trying to make you believe is not true in the sense that you will receive it, but it's true in the sense of what he's saying. He says one thing knowing that it means something else to him, but knowing that it will mean something else to you. Okay? He wants you to believe something, what you will imply to what he's saying when the opposite is true. Okay? So he says he's telling the truth, but he's not telling you how he defines the words that he's using differently than, say, a Protestant would define them, or a true Bible believer would define them. He defines the words he's using differently. That's what a sophist does, okay? And he is a philosophist, a philosopher. And not only that, he is a member of the anti-Christian church, a capital C, Catholic. See, that's a pronoun. When you see Catholic with a capital C, and not at the beginning of a sentence, but if it's referring to the organization, the Catholic Church, then it is a pronoun, and it doesn't mean what it means when it is a lowercase c, and it's just the word Catholic, which means universal. So it is a capital C Catholic universal church, and that is universal by force. But there is a true universal, a Catholic, small Catholic C church out there that is universal, and that would be the true Church of Jesus Christ. And that's why we don't like to use the word Catholic when referring to our church. We would rather just use universal or true Israel or something like that, the true biblical, Bible-believing or Reformed church, instead of using the word small c, lowercase Catholic. Okay, so anyway, very interesting. This guy, he's being held out as an expert, someone you can look to, but he is not being exposed. Maybe they will expose him in the film later on. Yeah, maybe. But we'll see. I guess we have to wait a year to see the rest of the film. But I'll tell you, the trailer looked really good. Yeah. But the trailer exposed a few things, which I've shared with you today. Now, let's see if we got any comments in the chat room. Let's see what we got here. Carrie Ann says, oh, no, she's answering to someone else. Oh, we got a lot of conversation going here in the chat room. And, well, let's see. I hope this is Fireman Mike. Your name and where you're calling from. You are on the air. Well, see, I know Fireman Mike knows how to talk, so that I guess that's not him. But anyway, good to see you in the room there, Fireman Mike. Let's see. Immune disorder, warp speed. Jabs are making people's bodies kill themselves, seeking to remove the invading poisonous spike proteins. Yes. Recreating society, science, the Bible, medicine, all our reality to bring us back to Rome. That's what the Counter-Reformation is all about. And see, America is being destroyed on purpose to bring it down to a level where the people can be controlled, to extirpate heretics. Well, they would rather have, hedonism, all kinds of evil, you name it, everything that's being pushed today in the society, the anti-Christian forces are behind it. The Counter-Reformation anti-Christian forces are behind it because it is their object to destroy America, to bend it to the will of the Antichrist and his shadow government. We are on our 2030 march to the mark of the beast. And it looks to me like they're going to get their way. That by 2030 or 2030 and thereafter, they are going to begin their mark of the beast inquisitions, as the prophecy foretells us in chapter 13 of the Revelation. Not a whole lot said about it, but we have an indication that people will be martyred for not receiving or refusing or rejecting and throwing off the mark of the beast that has to do with buying and selling or some allegiance to the great apostasy and the one world satanic monetary system. They've taken our money away. I mean, you can still have silver and gold, and I would suggest that you get at least some silver, because maybe quarters, half dollars if you can, or dimes even, because, with a silver quarter, you can fill up your tank with gas, or a half dollar today. But in the future, if you're not able to partake or you have to withdraw from the mark of the beast system because God calls you out, then you're going to have some means of trade in substance in order to take care of the necessities of life. Now, how bad it will be in the land of the free, we will see, but from what I'm seeing, it looks like it could get just as bad here as everywhere else on earth. I don't know. We shall see. Only time will tell. But see, what I do know is that Christ is coming, but he's not coming on the counter-Reformation dispensational timeline and schedule. There's no pre-tribulation wrath or rapture of the church. Otherwise, they'd be gone already, because we are entering into the tribulation of those days. And yes, it will exceed 7 years, because from that text where it says, there shall be great tribulation. Okay, but I believe that one reference is to a tribulation leading up to 70 AD and the desolation. But the later tribulation, because there are two distinct tribulations mentioned in Matthew chapter 24, and the one that says the tribulation of those days is not called the Great Tribulation, but the dispensational make them both the same thing when they are not. You can go to my website. At the top, you'll see Matthew 24 explained there, and you can, the Olivet Discourse, and you can go through that verse by verse in that study there and learn the difference between those two tribulations, because Jesus is answering two questions. One about the destruction, desolation of Jerusalem and the temple and the nation on the ground there in that day, and he also answered the question about his return, the second coming of Christ. And so he answers both of those questions in that chapter. You just have to be brilliant enough. No, not really. Just have to have a couple of brain cells to rub together to figure out, with a little help perhaps, you'll be able to sort it out, because there have been some pretty smart people that have been confused by that chapter. But I'll tell you what, after studying prophecy now for intently for more than 15 years, I'm starting to get a clue, and like to share with people what I've learned through a lot of hours of study. Okay, howdy, Carrie Ann. She says, coming in late. Ecumenical apostate denominations already in lockstep with Rome, getting more in lockstep every day. Thank you for that, a Reformed Protestant there. Let's see. 2 Timothy 1-9 tells it all. Perilous times for sure. We need not be surprised. Indeed. Yes. Got Evangelibellies, as Tom Fress called them. Says, love Tom Fress. Unvarnished source of truth. Yes, that's why we have his podcasts, and we produce many years worth, which we will continue to play. Carrie Ann says, thanks WW for something. Let's see, again, moving on here. Catholic. Many useful idiots out there in the world, yes. Good to see you there in the room. Angel Chen. Jesuit taught Marxists, and Yeah, the Great Tribulation started in 1968. Star Trek episode. The Trouble with Tribbles. I love that episode, man. Or am I deluded? Yeah, you're as deluded as the rest of us there, WW. Yeah. Engel Chen. Yes, we have to put on the full armor of God and keep it on. Thank you for that, Sid, there in the chat room anyway. Let me check that other chat room out. While I'm checking out chat rooms, the one over here at, Amara R. just followed. Thank you for following. I guess, I hope you're listening. One of the 3 viewers over there. Yeah, maybe I just will move everything live over to the D Live chat room. What do you think? We got any votes up for that in the chat room over there? Should I move over to D Live? Their chat room has a picture next to it, but they've got all this other stuff around there. But maybe I ought to do that. You have to check it out anyway at DLive TV /Prophecy Reality News. And yeah, we'll put a link for that in the chat room right now. How about that? And that way you can check it out and post you a thing, and maybe next week we'll try. Let's do a run on it next week. Let's try it out next week. See if we can move everybody over there, and then we'll see how we like it. You guys up for that? Yeah, not getting any thumbs up or thumbs down over there on that. Okay, we have almost used up the entire first hour, and we have a little... Your name and where you're calling from?
Hi, Nicholas. Fireman Mike, Akron, Ohio.
Yes, Mike. Go ahead.
How are you today?
Great.
But anyway, can you put in the link or in the chat rather, the link to the D Live thing? I'm a little confused about that.
Oh, I just did, just as you were calling.
Oh, yep, I see it now.
Yeah.
Hey. All right, thanks, pal. Keep up the good work.
All right, thanks for the call. Bye. Anyway, Fireman Mike called in and he confirmed that our phone does work, and that link is in the chat room, and it's dlive.tv. That's the letter D, DLIVE .tv /Prophecy Reality News. One word, of course. And check it out there. And if you're in the chat room, their link is in there. And I'll also post it when I put out the notice for next week. Maybe I'll put it in this post for this week. So check it out after the broadcast. I'll update the post to put the D Live Prophecy Reality News. And we'll try that out next week so to see how it works. And that way we can have YouTube as a secondary stream instead of primary, since they seem to have the audacity to keep giving me strikes and not telling me why. Yeah. So I only have 1 strike left before they take me off for 2 weeks, and then 3 strikes, you're out. Well, as far as I'm concerned, if they take me off for 2 weeks, pretty much done doing live streams with them, or posting videos. Because I think if I delete the live stream immediately after the broadcast, that their algorithm doesn't run on a live stream very well, because their algorithm has to sort out the closed captions first, and then to pinpoint certain words and flag it for someone to look at. And I don't know why they bother with me. I have so few listeners, You'd think they'd waste their time on people that have a lot of listeners. Your name and where are you calling from? Ah, yes. And anyway, so glad you're watching the broadcast. We keep praying for you. Keep praying for all of you. And anyway, we're going to go into a break here momentarily. Yeah, I think I was supposed to go into it already. Oh, yes, momentarily in a few seconds. So make sure you go to my website, nicholasarthur.wordpress.com, and press the follow button there, or crosstheborder.org. Either way, it'll get you to the same place. Press the follow button, share the podcasts and all the resources there with whoever you can. And we are coming back for another hour, and we're going to jump into the Word and talk more about the mark of the beast. The first place that it is exposed actually is in the Old Testament at Proverbs chapter 1. So you might want to open up your Bible and jump in with me when we come back from these messages and the news. You will hear the news before we come back. So get yourself a cup of coffee, whatever you need, take a bathroom break or whatever, and then come back after the news. I'll see you in a few minutes.
Visit crosstheborder.org, CROSS, crosstheborder.org, to get your print, EPUB, or PDF version of Nicholas Arthur's new book titled When the Third Temple is Built. That's crosstheborder.org. When it comes to prophecy today, much of the evangelical Christian world has their eyes on Israel, waiting and watching to see when the third temple will begin to be built. The plans are drawn, the Jewish people are eager. Most evangelical Christians today believe that the rapture will happen before the third temple is built. Hi, I'm Michael Eugene. I was taught that Daniel's 70th week was in the future. Is that really what the Bible teaches? Have we searched the scriptures and found this to be true? Why is it so important for a re-established Israel to build a third temple in Jerusalem? Is it necessary to build a temple on the same location already occupied by the Dome of the Rock? Is it necessary for sacrifices to take place in the temple on Temple Mount? Is there really a rapture followed by 7 years of tribulation? What is the New Testament temple? Can we identify history and prophecy? Who is the first beast in Revelation chapter 13? Who are the 7 kings in Revelation 17? I have asked all these questions, and I have found Nicholas Arthur's new book, When the Third Temple is Built, answers all these questions and more using Scripture to interpret Scripture. The Bible says that no prophecy of Scripture is of any private interpretation. Nicholas shows us in his new book, When the Third Temple is Built, how the Bible interprets prophecy and not man's private interpretation. Visit crosstheborder.org, CROSS, crosstheborder.org, to get your print, EPUB, or PDF version of Nicholas Arthur's new book titled When the Third Temple is Built. That's crosstheborder.org.